Hello and welcome to a brand new edition of Wheel2Wheel Hotlap powered by Jade Finance Australia. This week we'll be racing around Brands Hatch GP circuit. Not sure what it's 100% called. We'll be racing around Brands Hatch with our Group 3s of our choices, and it's going to be an enduro race. 43 laps around this track with all of the tire compounds available, with the mediums being mandatory. For this week I am joined by what I'll probably say is the biggest fan of Brands Hatch, and he is AMS Excavations Dam Hexagon's 3-time Wheel2Wheel Division 1 champion, Apex Humper. How you doing, mate?
I am doing amazing, Chris. You nailed that. It's probably one of my favourite combos here, Brands Hatch Endurance in the GR3 Porsche for me. So, yeah, stoked and really excited for it.
Yeah. And before we start, I'm just wondering, what is it about this track that makes you go, wow, I absolutely love it here?
I think my first, I hadn't played this track before, GT Sport, but when I first started playing, I jumped in the Porsche GR3, and it was like the first car I sort of stuck with and got some experience in, and it was just this track. I can't remember for whatever reason. It might have been a daily race, and something just clicked, and I just like it's how it flows, and it's high risk reward. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, looking at the Group 3s, I mean your Porsche around here for the Hotlap, it does look big, the Porsche. I remember throughout the history of Wheel2Wheel, we've had 2 Enduros that I'm aware of. So one with the Porsche Caymans and one with the 86s. That's the 86s on my first season in Wheel2Wheel. And I think you won those Enduros, if I'm not mistaken.
I did. I think the Porsche, the first one, I think season 6 or season 7, the Porsche at the time was just the car there was just no beating the Porsche. Unless you were in a Porsche, you just had it was very overpowered. And the 86s was probably one of my favourite races since I've been in the league, because it was sort of a bit more of a level playing field, and then you were just lightning all season, and it was a really good race.
Well, there you have it. Looking to make his victory around here a three-peat. Here's Apex Humper with the Hotlap. Take it away, mate.
Alright guys, so let's go through a lap of Brands Hatch in the Porsche. So coming up to turn 1 here, Paddock Hill Bend, you want to be looking about halfway between the 1 and the 2 board on the left there, on the brakes, but I'm actually only braking about 30 to 40% power, because I want to carry as much speed through here as I can. And if you're trail braking or too hard on the brakes, you just shed off too much speed, and it's over the lap here at Brands Hatch, it's just all about that, carrying that speed through the corners and linking it all up. So the other really important thing for this turn is to start positioning your car towards the middle of the track. I sometimes use that pit exit line there as a sort of reference, and you have to do that here, because you got to get that car to the curb, and if you stay out too long, I think we've all probably realised that the corner here can sort of suck you out into the sand if you're not careful. So middle of the track positioning is just a must here. You got to get up on the curb there. Third gear in the Porsche, it's probably fourth in the other cars on the grid, but on the power as early as possible, and using all of this exit here, this green turf beyond the curb, because the name of the game around Brands Hatch is just using all of the track that's on offer. There's just, you just have to be brave and do it. So high risk but high reward. So approaching turn 2, Druids here, I'm looking about I'm just paused it slightly early here, but that red paint on the left there, or the cameraman, or just before that number 1 board, down to second I think in most cars on the grid, first gear in the Porsche, but you want to take like a tight line through here because of the sort of the camber on the track. If you can get in nice and tight, nice and early, the car just gets towed round nicely, and you carry a bit more speed. You can get up on the curb if your car likes it. Some cars don't, but the main thing here on exit is just to be patient and be nice on the throttle, especially if you're in a, you know, like a Corvette or a Jag or a Supra, because it's a low speed corner and you're exiting onto and using all of the track again on the left here, which can be quite slippery if you go too far, especially if you get your right wheels on that curb. You quite often see guys go around here, but yeah, you kind of have to use all of the track here just to get that speed. But yeah, coming up to turn 3 or Graham Hill Bend here, I'm looking for, I've just passed it, the number 1 board, just as it goes out in my field of view on the brakes. And if you look carefully to the just the right of the white line, there's a little bit of I don't know what it is, like mesh. It just gives you a little bit of extra grip coming into the turns. It's around a few turns around here, and try use that if you're brave enough, maybe in quali. It's high risk in a race, but yeah, it just opens up the turn that little bit extra so you can carry a bit more speed through. But I'm down to second in the Porsche. Try get your left wheels on the curb there. Third gear most likely in most other cars on the grid. Same again on exit. You want to use all of this here. You won't get a penalty. You can go right over that white line. But yeah, you want to be carrying enough speed through so that you have to, if you can avoid this exit, you're probably not carrying enough speed through that corner. So that would be a good indicator to maybe lay off the brakes a little bit, and just try and coast around a bit further. This corner here is quite tricky, especially in race conditions, because of the way that the grip kind of deteriorates out wide. So I'm using that 1 board on the right. Once it goes outside of my view, or that green barrier, if someone for whatever reason destroys that board, you've got that green sort of thing on the fence. But in qualifying, you can probably get away with taking a wide line through here with a late apex, but as the race goes on, you'll notice that the grip out wide kind of gets less and less, so you're sort of forced to take a tighter line through here. And yeah, so I'm down to second in the Porsche, probably third gear. Yeah, definitely third gear in most of the other cars. And with this curb, you want to get as close as you can, but not try to avoid touching it. It's quite a nasty one. It's raised up and it just sort of upsets the cars a little bit too much. But yeah, so if you can avoid it, good. Make sure you're trying to, so one of the things around Brands Hatch is you're never really hard on the brakes. You're just trying to sort of slow the car, coast, or minimal trail braking, just to try and keep your cornering speed up. I think that's kind of crucial for around Brands Hatch. But again, on the exit, I'm going to pause it because you'll see just there's that black meshy stuff again that's available for just a little bit of extra grip, so you can run a little bit wider there, and not have to worry too much about spinning. You will spin if you stay out too long and don't get yourself back in before that grass. The game is really good at letting you know that you've pushed it too far. Going up to turn 5, yeah, just shy of that number 1 board on the left. Quite a tricky corner in the Porsche, just because it's a high speed banked right-hander, and you've got to chop down to a couple of gears, sometimes into third. It can be quite hairy at times, but you want to, same again, quite minimal braking, just to try and carry a bit more speed to the apex. But you want to get to that curb quite nice and early there. So for this corner, when you reach the curb, you can pretty much get straight back on the power, just because I think the camber and the track, it just sort of tows you around, and it's a really nice corner when you nail it. But same again, using all of that exit there. Coming up to the first of the geez, I can't remember the name, but coming into this corner about where that green, or the cameraman there looking the wrong way, or just halfway between the 1 and the 2 board, again lightly onto the brakes, sort of 30 or 40% of my pedal, if that makes sense. Down to 3rd gear, probably it could be 4th in some other cars, but the main thing is really abusing this curb here, getting right up on it, just to keep that angle nice and open, carry a bit more speed. You'll see that that mesh is back again for this up on the curb there, so it's sort of, you're not going to really spin here unless you're, yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anyone spin there, but using all of the exit again, there's that mesh again. This is quite high risk here because the sand is so strong. Like if you just drop a tire on, it's going to suck you off to the, pull you, you're going to drift off into the sand. So yeah, it's not going to be ideal. But coming up to my favorite corner, because this is where all of the action is. This is where the race will be won or lost for a lot of people. In the last 2 endurance races we've had here, this is where disaster has usually struck. So I can use 2 sides of the track for brake markers. You got that green, which is good because this is quite a high, it can be quite a high pass zone if you've got a handling car like the Porsche, you know, was much faster through the corners. So you've got, if you're attacking, you've got that 1 board that you want to be sort of braking maybe in line with it, and you've got that green board that you can maybe defend going slightly past it. But it's very, I wouldn't recommend defending here. It's quite high risk, but yeah, we'll get to the apex. I'm down to 3rd quite aggressively in the Porsche because I want to sort of swing it in and get right up on that curb and abuse it like the last one. So right up there again, that black mesh is back, so you want to be 2 wheels on that. And yeah, defend here, stick it around the outside here if you want to, but I wouldn't recommend it because cars here naturally want to use all of the track there, and if you drop a wheel on that grass, you're probably going round, because it's, yeah, there's a lot of action here, and I think we'll see that on Sunday. So my recommendation would be just to find like a nice rhythm through there. You don't have to push every single corner here. It's more about just establishing a nice comfortable pace and consistency, and that's probably what's going to give the good results, is guys that can do that. So coming over back to the right hand side of the track, Sterling's about halfway but slightly closer to that 1 board or that green marker on the fence there. This actually probably use the green, get into the habit of using the green marker, because guys that come around that last corner too hot, probably they have a tendency to spin across the track, take out both of those markers, and then you're screwed if you haven't practiced another marker. So use the fence, that green bit on the fence just before that green marker, and down to 2nd gear in the Porsche, 3rd gear in pretty much every other car. And I want to be getting in early onto the curb there with my left wheels. You can carry a hell of a lot more speed through here if you can get your left tyres up and pretty much dump the throttle back on, and yeah, carry all that momentum through. Using all of the track on exit again there, right up on the curb. I've probably almost gone a fraction too far, probably nearly spun there, but yeah, coming over, if I forget what the last turn's called, but I'm coming up to just there, just before the patch, that concrete patch there. There is a chance that 1 board gets taken out by guys fighting or whatever, but yeah, just halfway between the 2 board and maybe that concrete patch, on the brakes quite aggressively again in the Porsche, just to get that weight transfer, get it into the apex here. Boom. And yeah, 3rd gear, it could be 4th in cars like the Supra or the Corvette, but another tricky one on exit. You've got to be quite patient, because right here is another action-packed corner from previous seasons. You'll get guys that just push it a little bit too hard and dip a wheel on that sand, and or the grass. The grass, you high chance of spinning into pit lane, or the sand will just stop you pretty much dead in your tracks. For a quali lap, you can sometimes work your way back over to the pit wall and follow it down. You might get half a tenth, but otherwise, yeah, stick to the right, and then repeat repeat again for 43 laps. So yeah, good luck.
A blistering lap from our 3-time champion. Thank you, Apex, for showing us how it's done.
Yeah, no worries. Took a bit of relearning, I must say, but yeah, got it done in the end.
Yeah, so let's talk about the race for a bit. So, an enduro, like I said previously, 43 laps. What do you think the strategy will play out like?
Well, it's a very short pit stop here, and with softs and mediums available, medium's the only compulsory tyre, if I remember right.
Yes, that's correct.
So I'm not sure, because typically, like, there's not many opportunities to pass at Brands Hatch, so track positions, like, is crucial, and so it's going to be a battle. It could be a battle between guys that have found pace in the mediums versus guys that want to do a few more stops on the softs, if they think that they can get that like that overlap done in the pits. It's a very short stop. I think it's under 10 seconds for tyres. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be fast paced. Yeah, fast paced stuff. A lot of stops, I think.
Yeah, the pit lane's not really that long around here. I remember, when we were doing the 86 enduro, I had a strategy, and the commentators were like, "What the heck is this guy doing?" And it turned out it worked. So who knows? We might see some unorthodox strategies come to play on Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, there's a few ways to. Like, I've done sort of a little bit of maths, and it just depends what your car is capable of on softs, how many laps it can get, and what you're left with at the end. There might be a chance to do a sort of a slightly longer medium stint, or I think it's going to have to be like you're going to have to think on your feet a wee bit, just with the track position, and there's going to be a few disasters with there's a couple of turns there that can catch. I think will catch people out. We've seen from previous seasons. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of moments where you might just have to have a think and try and think on the fly. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun indeed, and to see if Apex will get the 3-peat or will someone stop him. So to find out, tune into our YouTube channel at 5:30 and 7:30 p.m. We'll be streaming our races at those times. And as per usual, drop a like on this video, and if you like what we do, subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell, so for every content that we upload, you don't miss a thing. Thank you to our sponsors, especially Jade Finance Australia. Without you guys, we won't be able to do this week in and week out. And finally, thank you, Apex, for joining me this week.
No worries, my pleasure.
And see you guys in the next installment of Wheel to Wheel Hotlap, powered by Jade Finance Australia. Until then, take care.